Hello, this is Jesse with ZBH Tech, and I just wanted to cover a topic that is important to me, and especially since I'm an IT professional. I work from home full time. Getting good internet has been a struggle over the last decade and a half for me. So I just want to go over some of the options and the experiences that I've had with a few different technologies and hopes that it can help you out as well. So first of all, let's talk about what some of the technologies are that are out there. 5G home internet is offered by a couple of companies. Starlink is a low Earth orbit satellite constellation from SpaceX, and fixed wireless is usually local or regional carriers who have towers set up where they have an antenna pointing at the tower, and that's pretty much how you get service. So I'll go into more detail in each of these, but I just wanted to give a cap here of what I've used over the last several years and kind of where I'm at and what I recommend. So what is 5G home internet? So 5G home internet is the fifth generation cellular technology that carriers like T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T have used or started using to provide home internet service into their customers' homes. Typically with 5G, you can get quite a bit of a discounted rate if you have your mobile lines through these carriers. For example, Verizon, I believe their current plan that just went up $10, but their cheaper plan is now $35, and their plus plan is $45 if you're a Verizon mobile customer. The prices go up quite a bit if you're not a customer and you just want to use their service as like a 5G home internet standalone. T-Mobile is the same thing. They offer discounted rates, and I believe AT&T does. AT&T is new to the game, and so it's going to be a little bit different for them in the beginning. Their coverage is a lot smaller, whereas Verizon and T-Mobile have greatly expanded their networks. Verizon and AT&T have both just cleared all their C-band spectrum. So what that really means is the frequencies that satellite providers used to use are now owned by AT&T and Verizon through an auction process. And now that these frequencies have been cleared by the government, they can then, retune and use new radios to get faster speeds out to people, which is why you're seeing an expansion of home internet services. Typically, 5G has a lower latency. Typically, the prices are cheaper and the speeds are a little bit better. But sometimes limited connectivity can be a problem. Also, it can be an issue during peak times of the day. Things can slow down, but for the most part, at least with Verizon, it's been pretty solid service, so I've been impressed. The next one is Starlink. Starlink, like I said before, is a satellite service that's owned and operated by SpaceX. They have their satellites, over 4,000 of them now, that are in low Earth orbit, or LEO, and they use a combination of satellites, ground stations, point of presence data centers, and then user terminals that are mounted on a roof. So the typical packet traffic would go, say, from your antenna up to a satellite, down to a ground station, and then into a POP, which would then go out onto the internet. And then it would reverse course to go the other direction. So because of all these hops, typically the latency is higher, but the speeds are still pretty good. There's a lot of people experiencing speeds between 150 megabits per down up to maybe 200, 250 at times. And upload speeds are kind of where it suffers the most. A lot of times they're between 5 and 15 on the upload speed, which is okay, depends on your needs. And that's one of the common themes here is taking note of what's available in your area, what the cost is, and what you need the connection for, and then with that information, picking the best carrier that suits your needs. If you're someone who has to have a always-on connection, it could be a combination of a couple of these. So that's what Starlink is. I had their service starting in February of 2021 where they were in beta. I have the old round dishy, and I still have the service, but I've transitioned it over into their roam service, and I paused it, which means I don't have to pay. They do have a residential service currently, and that you have to pay per month, but it is a higher speed service than the roam service because of the priority and the way they deprioritize the the traffic on their network. So anyway, I'm gonna go on to the next one, which is fixed wireless, and this is something I had had for many years, probably almost 20 years. I used fixed wireless. It's the only thing I could get, and the speeds have always ranged between 5 to 40 megs down, depending on the provider and the saturation of the network, the time of day, and the upload speeds are typically between 3 to 5 megs on the download speed, which is not really great. However, if this is all you can get in your area, it's better than dial-up. It's better than the good old-fashioned geosynchronous orbit satellite system like Viasat, and there's a few other companies that have provided service, and super high latency, like 1500 milliseconds per milliseconds on the ping. You can't. There's a lot of things you just can't do with that. So fixed wireless works, but it's probably my third option out of the three. So let's go on to the next. So what are the advantages and disadvantages? Again, we've kind of talked about that, but just to recap, 5G home internet typically is cheaper. If you stick with the carrier you have your mobile phones through. Latency is usually lower, not slower, but lower. Starlink, the availability is a big plus. It's available in most areas of central and the western side of the United States. When you get in the eastern part of the United States, there's still a lot of unavailable areas, but they're opening new ones all the time. So again, it could be hard to get currently. You may have to get on a wait list, but when you do get it, the availability or the opportunity to receive service is a lot higher than most. You have to have a clear line of sight to the northern sky, but cost is high, so that's going to be a con there. Fixed wireless, kind of already gone over that. The prices are usually okay, kind of in the middle of 5G home internet and Starlink, but the latency will be low, and the speeds are, they're okay. So if you look at these options, there are others. There are other options out there. But again, the best thing to do as an educated consumer is to find out what's available in your area, do your homework, go to these carriers' websites, put in your address, find out if the service is available, and all of these, both 5G, Starlink, fixed wireless, figure out what the price is of each, what the contracts are, and also why do you want the service? Do you have a household of 2 people? Do you have a household like me where I have 8 people with multiple phones and iPads and computers and gaming consoles, and I need a lot of bandwidth, and I need a lot of data throughput as far as like on a monthly basis. So I don't want to be limited. I don't want there to be some kind of cap process where they cut me off at a certain amount. It has to be truly unlimited. So knowing that information and then making a good choice depending upon the answers to those questions, that's going to be key. So one of the things I would like to do in the near future is I want to take each of these topics and I want to break them apart and just make a video about each one of these, so that hopefully you can make the best decision for you and your family. You want to have the lowest cost and the best service, what we all want, but sometimes it's worth paying more for the right solution. So thank you for listening today. If you go ahead and you like this video, go ahead and like it and subscribe to my channel for more and further content. So thank you.